Welcome to the Toxics Reduction via Responsible E-Waste Management video series, presented to you by the Delta Institute with funding from the US EPA Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. In this video, Sarah O'Brien, Director of Outreach and Communications with the Green Electronics Council, creator of the EPEAT registration, brings us the presentation Reducing E-Waste Through Purchasing Decisions, Opportunities with EPEAT in 3 parts. This is part 2. This content was originally created for a workshop series in Toledo and Cleveland, Ohio.
I'm going to talk a little bit about EPEAT, which is one way that you can kind of package up a lot of these approaches in one tool. EPEAT is the definitive global rating system for greener electronics. We have a registry of products which are measured against a specific standard. The system is designed to help everyone who purchases electronics, whether that's, global enterprise down to individuals, to evaluate and compare products and select products that reduce the user's environmental impact. So EPEAT currently contains about 3,000 unique products registered from 50 manufacturers across 42 countries. So large volume. You can assure your IT managers that they're not going to find a very restricted product set. Or restricted set of suppliers. And EPEAT was really invented to enable easy environmental evaluation in the purchasing process. So it looks at end of life. We'll talk about an array of things, and it does that in a way that is packaged up so that you can simply specify EPEAT and know that that will bring you a lot of environmental value. If you need to, you can also dig into the EPEAT system and see right down to the individual criteria declared by an individual product. So EPEAT currently covers desktops, laptops, and workstations, thin clients, and displays, so PCs and displays. In 2013, we will begin covering imaging equipment and televisions based on 2 new standards that were just published through the IEEE Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers this fall. And so imaging equipment covers basically printers and copiers, fax machines, scanners, a bit more, and TVs. Up next, we're in the process of starting server standard development, and we'll be looking at mobile devices down the road. In addition, we'll be updating the current computer standard. So EPEAT is a multi-attribute lifecycle standard. I've circled here those attributes that are directly related to end of life. EPEAT is really designed, again, to simplify and streamline the process of saying, okay, I want this product to be, quote, greener than a comparable product. What does that mean? Well, it's a very complicated product. In EPEAT, that means it might meet, 30-some to 50-some different environmental criteria. The rating system was developed by stakeholders, including purchasers, manufacturers, environmentalists, researchers, to bring all of the different perspectives to bear and identify what that group of about 100 people, current standards have about 300 people participating, what that group could find as consensus as to what really mattered in terms of electronics in the environment. So in terms of these attributes, obviously product longevity and life cycle extension, how long that product can be kept in life through repairs, upgrades, spare parts, etc. End-of-life management, all manufacturers are required to provide responsible end-of-life management for any product registered in the system. So once you've bought that product, at any point when you want to dispose of it, whether it's 10,000 of them or one from your business, that end-of-life take-back should be available to you. Reduction of environmentally sensitive materials, so toxics, materials that persist in the environment and can expose wildlife, humans, and other systems to toxicity, are addressed through 11 different criteria. Material selection is about primarily inclusion of recycled content, so encouraging the purchase of recycled content for inclusion in electronics, and also bio-based content which is not really an end-of-life criterion. The recycling one definitely impacts because it creates a market for that recycled content. And design for end-of-life. This is a very critical part of EPEAT about designing products to be more easily disassembled or shredded and retaining value by enabling reuse of many components and materials. So EPEAT rates products at different levels. We have bronze, silver, and gold ratings. Products must meet all required criteria to qualify for EPEAT bronze. That's the basic level, the green level. Products then meet optional criteria. If they meet 50% of the optional criteria or higher, they're rated silver. 75% of the optional criteria or higher, they're rated gold. So in the current PC and display standard, where we have 51 criteria, 23 required and 28 optional, a gold-rated product is very high-performing and might meet up to 48 or more criteria. A bronze product shows leadership. It's better than a number of other conventional products and certainly is worth setting your sights there if you feel that for whatever reason you don't want to restrict your choices too much. So this doesn't have to do with end of life, but how is EPEAT different from Energy Star is a question that we often get because many, particularly government purchasers, already require Energy Star. So Energy Star is a wonderful system. We work closely with Energy Star to set our energy use requirements in EPEAT, but energy is a single attribute, and EPEAT is a more comprehensive measure of reduced environmental impact. EPEAT registered products meet the latest Energy Star standard. That's one of the required entry-level criteria, but then they meet from 21 to 42 other rigorous criteria. So you get Energy Star plus a lot more. So that's, in a nutshell, the difference between the two. But looking again at end of life, all products registered in EPEAT must have a program in place for product take-back and responsible recycling. The PC display standard requires consistency with some EPA guidelines, and the new imaging equipment and TV standards set baseline responsible recycling requirements and will identify and qualify systems that meet them. So schemes of best management practices or certifications will be qualified as EPEAT compliant or EPEAT consistent. R2 and E-Steward certifications are already qualified under either of the two standards. So if you're using an R2 or E-Steward certification, or if a manufacturer is, more importantly, those are acceptable processors for the take-back and end-of-life management. So in terms of the design for end of life, this is a very interesting one because there are a number of criteria, 11 out of 51, that address end of life. They were developed with a strong input from recyclers as to what they needed to be able to do their jobs better and extract more reusable materials. So we required things like clear identification of hazardous materials and recyclable plastics, ease of disassembly with less gluing or metal bonded with plastic, things like that. Fewer material types on the assumption that it's easier to process, a simplified materials list. If you have 32 kinds of plastics, it's difficult to extract them all from one product. If you have two kinds, you can pretty much figure out a way to separate those out and have clean reusable material. All products in the system must be at least 65% reusable or recyclable, and there is a criterion for 90% reusable and recyclable that a number of products now meet, a high proportion of products. Here at the bottom is, this is a little bit older. I think it's about 6 months old, but about 2,000 of 2,200 U.S. registered products have met that 90% reusable and recyclable criterion, up from one product out of 700 4 years ago. So definitely a lot of progress on that front driven by EPEAT requirements. So product longevity, we've talked about this, the availability of tools and capabilities to keep those products in life. All the EPEAT criteria here support a longer refresh cycle, saving you money and reducing environmental impact. So in conclusion, the question is, well, can environmental purchasing initiatives positively affect the design of ICT products and services? Is this just about you're protecting yourself from certain liability or waste issues, or is it broader? And the question, I think, is answered when we look at things like progress toward that 90% recyclable figure. Yes, environmental purchasing initiatives, when many, many people, purchases of all sizes and types around the world, require the same certification, that really does affect the global supply chain, manufacturers' design choices and service choices. And so, yes, is the answer to that, in short. EPEAT as a tool can help you easily address end-of-life issues within an understandable, responsible recycling construct. So, this has a real impact. Purposeful environmental purchasing can enable much more effective recovery of materials, many fewer environmental releases, and significant reductions in workers' toxic exposure. And they can drive purchasing initiatives can drive the availability of recycled material, which then enables construction of new equipment, new products out of recycled material. So driving the eventual evolution of the sector towards that more closed loop model where, plastics are coming back and being reincorporated into products that are then resold, reused, and that value is retained. So it's really the aggregation of purchasing power that creates momentum for change. So when you require eStewards certification of a recycler, you're joining thousands of people all over the world that are asking for that. And that means that recycler understands, okay, there's value in this in the market. There are many, many purchasers out there that will validate my choice to certify myself by hiring me, which is, the end result that we're looking for. Similarly, by using EPEAT, you confirm for manufacturers that purchasers care about environmental issues and that they will direct their purchasing dollars to environmentally preferable products.